Picture this. You're scrolling through Zillow at 2 in the morning, crying into your ramen because even a studio apartment costs more than your car. But what if I told you there are places in Nevada where you could buy an entire house for less than what you spent on coffee this year? I'm talking about towns where the median home price makes you double check if you're looking at the right website or if someone accidentally added extra zeros to your bank account. Listen up, because while everyone's losing their sanity over million-dollar cardboard boxes in California, Nevada's hiding these secret gems where houses are so cheap, even your broke college roommate could afford one. We're diving into the most mind-blowing real estate opportunities that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about homeownership in America. But hold on before you start packing your U-Haul. There's always a catch, right? These prices aren't low because real estate agents are feeling generous. There are reasons these places make your GPS start suggesting therapy sessions after 50 miles of tumbleweeds. Some of these towns have populations smaller than your high school graduating class, and the nearest Starbucks might require a road trip that involves crossing state lines. Here's what's wild though. While your friends are spending $3,000 a month to share a bathroom with strangers in San Francisco, you could literally own a house outright in some of these Nevada towns. No landlord breathing down your neck. No HOA fees that cost more than actual rent. Just you, your property, and enough space to scream into the void without disturbing anyone. Nevada isn't just Vegas glitz and Reno casinos. This state is massive, diverse, and full of communities where the American dream isn't completely dead. It's just really, really quiet, and sometimes involves learning to love the sound of your own thoughts echoing in the desert silence. So buckle up as we explore 10 Nevada towns where home prices are so ridiculously low, you'll think it's either a scam or time travel back to when gas cost $1. Each of these places offers something different, from alien tourism to historic mining heritage, and all of them offer something that's becoming increasingly rare in modern America: affordable homeownership. Starting our countdown at number 10, we have Goldfield, Nevada. This historic mining town sits in the middle of absolutely nowhere with a population that hovers around 300 people on a good day. Houses here can be snagged for anywhere between $75,000 to $100,000. That's not a typo, folks. That's less than what some people spend on their wedding day, and probably a better investment too. Goldfield used to be the largest city in Nevada during the gold rush days, which explains why there are more abandoned buildings than residents. The town feels like a movie set where everyone forgot to show up for filming. Your neighbors will include ghost town enthusiasts, desert rats who've been there since the Carter administration, and that one person who moved there to write the great American novel and hasn't been seen in months. The nearest grocery store is 40 miles away in Tonopah, which means you'll become the kind of person who plans shopping trips like military operations. Amazon delivery drivers will call you sobbing, completely lost somewhere between Joshua trees and abandoned mine shafts. But imagine waking up to sunrise over untouched desert mountains, owning your home completely, and having enough space to start whatever weird hobby you've been dreaming about. Number 9 brings us to Caliente, Nevada, where houses range from $90,000 to $130,000, and the town motto should be Caliente. It's not just hot weather. This place has about 1,000 residents who either work for the railroad, the government, or have given up on society entirely and found peace in small-town desert life. The Union Pacific Railroad still runs through town, which means you'll develop opinions about train schedules and learn to sleep through the sound of freight cars. The nearest mall is in Las Vegas, 2 hours away, which means online shopping becomes your best friend until you realize shipping to the middle of nowhere costs more than the actual products. But here's what you get: a legitimate community with actual amenities. There's a high school, a hospital, and even a municipal pool. Your kids can grow up thinking traffic jams involve 3 cars at the same intersection and everyone knows everyone, which is either charming or terrifying depending on your social anxiety levels. Coming in at number 8, we have Pioche, Nevada, where home prices sit between $100,000 and $150,000, and the town's claim to fame is being really good at mining and having a lot of people die in the process. Population hovers around 800 hardy souls who've either been there forever or moved there specifically to escape whatever chaos they left behind. This place has serious Old West vibes, complete with historic buildings that make you feel like you should be wearing cowboy boots and carrying a six-shooter. The million-dollar courthouse is here, built in the 1870s and somehow still functioning, which is more than can be said for most government buildings built last decade. The elevation is 6,000 feet, which means winter is not a suggestion, it's a command. You'll learn to love snow in ways that people from warmer climates can't understand. The nearest big city is Las Vegas, 3 hours away through some of the most beautiful and terrifying mountain roads you've ever seen. Number 7 takes us to Lovelock, Nevada, where houses cost between $120,000 and $170,000, and the town is famous for having a giant lock where couples attach padlocks as symbols of eternal love. The irony is that half these couples probably break up before they even leave town. But hey, romance sells. Population sits around 2,000 people, making it practically metropolitan compared to our previous entries. There's actually stuff to do here: a museum, restaurants plural, and even a movie theater that shows films from this actual decade. The Rye Patch Reservoir is nearby for fishing, swimming, and pretending you're not living in the middle of the Nevada desert. The Burning Man Festival brings thousands of people through town every year, which creates this bizarre annual influx of tech bros and artists who spend 1 week acting like they've discovered authentic rural life before returning to their San Francisco apartments that cost more per month than these entire houses. At number 6, we find Austin, Nevada, not the Texas one with food trucks and tech companies, but the Nevada version with a population of 190 people and houses that cost less than a decent car. We're looking at prices between $95,000 and $125,000 for places that would cost millions anywhere with actual cell phone service. This town used to boom during silver mining days and now exists in a state of beautiful, stubborn persistence. The entire main street is on the National Register of Historic Places, which sounds impressive until you realize it's 3 buildings and a really optimistic gift shop that's open sometimes, according to the hand-painted sign. The elevation is 6,600 feet, so moving here from sea level means spending your first month feeling like you're constantly hiking uphill. The nearest Walmart is 112 miles away, which means you'll become the kind of person who buys toilet paper by the pallet and considers a 40-mile drive to the grocery store a quick errand. Number 5 brings us to Eureka, Nevada, where home prices range from $130,000 to $180,000, and the town proudly calls itself the loneliest town in America. They even have a festival celebrating this fact, which shows either remarkable self-awareness or a concerning level of acceptance about their isolation. Population hits about 500 people who work in mining, government, or have mastered the art of living off the grid while still having internet access. The town sits right on Highway 50, dubbed the loneliest road in America, which creates this meta-lonely situation that's either deeply philosophical or deeply depressing. The courthouse here is beautiful, built in the 1870s and still functioning, unlike your motivation after living in isolation for 6 months. There's actually culture here: an opera house that hosts performances, a museum, and enough historic buildings to make you feel like you've traveled back in time to when people had actual skills and didn't spend their days arguing on social media. At number 4, we have Ely, Nevada, where houses cost between $150,000 and $200,000, and the town exists primarily because trains need somewhere to stop and people need somewhere to work. Population around 4,000, making it practically a metropolis in our context. The Nevada Northern Railway Museum is here, which sounds boring until you realize it's actually pretty cool if you're into trains or want to give your kids nightmares about the Industrial Revolution. Great Basin National Park is nearby, featuring caves, peaks over 13,000 feet, and trees older than organized religion. It's one of the least visited national parks, meaning you'll have it basically to yourself. The weather here involves winter that lasts approximately 8 months and summer that consists of 3 weeks in July. The entertainment options include the casino, the other casino, and driving 4 hours to Las Vegas to remember why you left civilization in the first place. But imagine owning a house with actual rooms, a real kitchen, and enough land to start whatever weird project has been floating around in your head. Number 3 takes us to Tonopah, Nevada, where home prices sit between $110,000 and $160,000, and the town motto should be, Tonopah, we have street lights. This place has about 2,000 residents and serves as the unofficial capital of the middle of nowhere. The Mizpah Hotel is here, reportedly haunted and definitely historic, where you can sleep in rooms that probably have more character than your entire apartment building. The town sits at the intersection of 2 major highways, making it a hub for people traveling between Las Vegas and Reno who need to remember what silence sounds like. There's actually a community here, schools, restaurants, a hospital, and people who've chosen this lifestyle intentionally rather than just ending up here by accident. The International Car Forest of the Last Church is nearby, which is exactly what it sounds like, cars buried nose first in the desert, creating an art installation that's either profound or the result of someone having way too much time and not enough supervision. Number 2 brings us to Round Mountain, Nevada, where houses range from $125,000 to $175,000, and the town exists entirely because there's a gold mine here. Population fluctuates around 700 people, depending on mining operations and whether people can handle the isolation. This is a company town in the truest sense. Kinross Gold Corporation basically owns everything, employs everyone, and determines whether the town thrives or becomes another Nevada ghost town. The upside is steady employment for those in mining. The downside is your entire economic reality depends on the global price of gold and corporate decisions made by people who've never seen a tumbleweed. The housing here is surprisingly decent because mining companies learned that providing quality housing keeps workers around longer. You'll have actual amenities, reliable utilities, and neighbors who understand the unique psychology of living in voluntary exile from mainstream society. And finally, our number 1 spot goes to Gabbs, Nevada, where houses cost between $65,000 and $95,000, making them cheaper than most people's student loans. Population sits around 270 people who either work at the magnesium plant, are retired, or are hiding from something and aren't telling anyone what. This town exists because of industrial mining operations, which means steady employment for some and a landscape that looks like the surface of Mars for everyone. The company provides most of the housing, utilities, and infrastructure, creating this bizarre bubble of civilization in the absolute middle of nowhere. The nearest anything is Fallon, 90 miles away through desert that makes you understand why early pioneers sometimes just gave up and became permanent residents of Nevada. Your entertainment options include the company recreation center, watching industrial operations that could power a small country, and becoming really good at finding interesting shapes in rock formations. But here's the thing about Gabbs. You could own a house for less than what most people spend on car payments. No mortgage hanging over your head like a financial sword of Damocles. Your monthly expenses would be utilities, food, and whatever you spend trying to convince friends to visit you in what they'll inevitably call the middle of nowhere. The silence here is so complete, it's almost aggressive. You'll hear sounds you never knew existed, wind patterns, your own heartbeat, the distant hum of industrial equipment that never stops. Your neighbors will be the kinds of people who chose this lifestyle deliberately, who understand that sometimes the best communities are the ones where everyone consciously decided to be there. Living in any of these towns means accepting certain realities. Your social life will involve the same people having the same conversations at the same places every week. Dating becomes logistically challenging when your options are limited to people within a 50-mile radius who aren't related to each other. Entertainment means driving hours to find a movie theater or developing hobbies that don't require other people. But consider what you gain. Complete homeownership before you're 30. Land where you can actually do things without permits, neighbors, or noise ordinances. The kind of quiet that forces you to confront your own thoughts, which is either therapeutic or terrifying, depending on what's going on in your head. These towns represent something that's becoming increasingly rare in modern America. Places where regular people can afford to own homes outright. Where your biggest monthly expense might be groceries and gas for trips to civilization. Where you can wake up every morning knowing you're not paying someone else's mortgage through your rent. The catch is always the same: isolation, limited amenities, whether that ranges from uncomfortable to actively hostile, and social scenes that make high school feel cosmopolitan. But for some people, these aren't problems to solve, but features to embrace. Nevada's no state income tax policy means more money staying in your pocket. The wide open spaces mean freedom from the constant noise and crowding of urban life. The small communities mean knowing your neighbors and having your voice actually matter in local decisions. So here's my question for you. Would you do it? Would you trade your overpriced urban apartment for complete homeownership in the middle of Nevada? Would you become the kind of person who waves at every car because you literally know everyone in town? Could you handle the silence, the isolation, the fact that your nearest Thai restaurant is 3 states away? Comment below and tell me what you think. Are these prices too good to be true, or are they exactly what America needs right now? Affordable housing for people willing to embrace a different kind of lifestyle? Have you ever lived in a small town like this? Or are you considering making the jump from city life to rural homeownership? And if you're already living in one of these Nevada towns, I want to hear from you. Is it paradise or purgatory? Are you living your best life or counting the days until you can escape back to civilization? Because someone needs to tell the rest of us what we're really signing up for. Like this video if these prices shocked you as much as they shocked me. Subscribe if you want more content about places where the American dream isn't completely dead, just really, really quiet. Hit that notification bell if you want to know when I inevitably crack and buy a house in one of these towns myself. Because let's be honest, at these prices, we're all thinking about it. The truth is, these Nevada towns represent choices that most Americans don't even realize exist anymore. In a world where homeownership feels impossible for entire generations, places like these offer alternatives that require trade-offs but deliver something precious: the security of owning your own place outright. Whether you're ready for that level of quiet and isolation is between you and whatever's driving you to consider dramatic life changes at 2 in the morning while scrolling through real estate websites. But at least now you know these options exist, tucked away in the Nevada desert, waiting for people brave enough to choose affordability over convenience.